Transhumanism. It sounds pretty dystopian, right? But it's essentially a philosophy and movement where we integrate humans with technology to enhance human capabilities beyond the fundamentals of the human condition. And we're often given an idealized and glorified idea of what transhumanism really entails, because I've watched interviews with Elon Musk specifically talking about his Neuralink idea. Let's hope it stays an idea, never actually comes to fruition, but like I watched interviews and he always talks about the upsides, and whenever he's asked about the downsides, at least in the interviews that I've seen, he always redirects and somehow makes it sound pretty good. Like he's a genius at redirecting and fixing narratives to make him sound really good. One prospect of Neuralink is that we will be able to viscerally communicate with each other, like transmute our thoughts as a new language. So we will essentially be able to understand what a person means and the emotions they're trying to convey, how they interpret what they're saying, like just understand them completely. It's like completely eradicating the fundamentality of being human. It's like removing the whole point, in my opinion, but that's one of the things. And some people might think that's really cool because, oh wow, I'll finally be able to be understood. But are we supposed to be understood completely by other people? Maybe the purpose is just to understand ourselves and be okay with that, you know? Another thing he spoke about is how it'll regulate our minds to process information like instantaneously. We'll be able to absorb information and learn things and concepts and ideas that would usually take people, I don't know, like time to learn. And we will just be able to like learn it just like that, which that sounds pretty cool. I will not lie about that, but all right, it will regulate our brains to become machines at learning. Okay, but what else is it regulating? He never talks about the downsides. Like maybe it's regulating our brains to not be able to conceive of certain ideas or narratives that might oppose what the technocracy pushes because it benefits them and harms us. Maybe what Neuralink is doing, it's offering these really glorified ideas to enhance the human experience, but it's also taking away our free will and free thinking. Like, of course, this is all theoretical. Neuralink, or we have not integrated with technology, but physically, that is. But psychologically, I think we have. Our brains have already fundamentally changed from the effects of technology. Like growing up with our phones and the internet and social media and all of this information, we now have the ability to consume because of, technology. Definitely, it has changed us in the way we operate and the way we think, which isn't inherently a bad thing, but we have no education on the effects this really has and causes. I know, in my experience at least, mindlessly scrolling on social media, that can be pretty addicting because it stimulates our brains and we have no time to really discern what it is we're viewing and consuming and letting into our subconscious and how it actually affects us. It's just so much information to process at once. And it's funny because we usually forget what we view, but it always stays in the back of our minds and it affects us. It does. And social media is really negative, and there's a lot of negative and harmful things on the internet. And people don't realize people don't realize to the extent of how they're kind of harming themselves by viewing and consuming all of this stuff. I said in a previous video that we have a really big impact on the people in our environment, our physical environment. But now, with technology, we also have an impact and connections to people all around the world. It's crazy. Like, the reach people can have is crazy. It's cool. That's like a really cool thing about technology. Like, we're even more connected than we ever were before. Really off topic, but it does convey an example of how we are connected as humans. So there's this cult, Scientology, and it's still a cult to this day, but it's been around for a while, and it used to be a lot more known and popular in the past. I'm not entirely sure what practices they did because I don't remember, but I know it definitely wasn't moral, and a lot of people disagreed with their actions, and especially the fact that this worldwide, nationwide cult was tax exempt. People did not agree with this because they were harming the community. And so people on 4chan, which is like an internet like forum thing, they gathered together and started this movement called Shenology Project, or Project Shenology. And they basically, a group of people became like internet vigilantes trying to take this cult down, doing everything they can in their power. And there was a big community of them, which, you know, is powerful. So one day, everyone around the world protested in front of these Scientology churches, because Scientology is a religion-based cult. I don't know if I said that. And that's just so cool. Like, thousands of people got together to stand for this movement. And we seem so divided. But when it comes down to what's morally correct, we're a community. A lot of these people that post such despairing and gloomy content also consume that content, so they feel more inclined. It's like just a never-ending cycle. You consume all this negativity, so negativity is circulating through your brain, and that's all you want to post. So you are receiving the effects of the negativity, and then you're also producing the effects onto others. It's like just a never-ending cycle of projection. It's almost like social media kind of thinks for you. Because I know I'm sorry to like repeat myself, but all of the information we consume at once, it's impossible to discern. But it still stays in our mind and affecting the way we perceive and think. So it's really important to be mindful, and a lot of people aren't. But I'm not blaming them, like I said. I am speaking fully from my own experience and things I've learned. I think the impact is probably even more dangerous and effective on children. Well, not necessarily dangerous, but effective, because their brains haven't fully developed yet. They're so easily to influence, and they're just open to this endless paradox, this endless digital paradox. So, and there isn't necessarily any monetization of what they can view. So the possibilities are endless. I remember seeing some really like weird, bad things, and it can really like just reshape the, you know, brain's fundamentals and how it operates, how it thinks. Whereas if we didn't have any of this, I wouldn't have been exposed to any of that bad stuff. I think technology could also be diminishing empathy, especially empathy for other humans, because we're exposed to more bad stuff than good, because the bad, you know, I hate using bad and good because they're such black and white terms, but, you know, we're exposed to more bad stuff because it's controversial. People love controversy. But I also think that I've learned a lot more on the internet, though, than from my own education system. So that's another positive thing. It like balances out, but I don't know. I feel like the problem is kind of getting worse. I don't know, it's just really hard to explain. It's better to be optimistic, though. I've noticed that like cynicism is often confused with being like a realist and intelligent, and then optimism is confused with ignorance, when I kind of think being a cynic is being ignorant. Because, okay, you're aware of the worldly issues, and you're just going to let that sink into yourself because nothing can be done. This is our reality. Oh, well. But if we want solutions, we have to actively think about solutions. If we ever want a change in any issues, then we have to be optimistic, because solutions are a possibility. And they can definitely happen. So I think it's wise to be more optimistic about things and hopeful, because there is a lot to hope for. With every generation, I think we keep becoming more and more open-minded and free-thinking, which is so great. Like, some people are worried about Gen Alpha. I think that's the next generation. But, like, no, I'm excited to see what they have to offer. I'm sure it's even better than what I can possibly comprehend, because we keep getting more and more in tune to our own thoughts, I feel. Like, trying to have a conversation that opposes with an older generation, you'd get labeled as un-American or a conspiracy theorist and immediately outruled, because free thought is not allowed. Free thought is bad, you know? But, you know, it's not like that anymore. Thank God. So that's like something really good I've noticed. Well, yeah, I think that's the end of my rambling again. If you watched to this point, thanks. Bye.